Converted man here. Hi. There's a worm on my head. Non sequitur aside, I'm going to analyze this video for its logical fallacies and attempt to answer the loaded / complex questions that the person asks in the video.
Nowadays, I see so many people patting themselves on the back for being an atheist.
I would like to ask you a lot of questions. The first being, where is it that you are encountering a lot of atheists, and where is it that these a lot of atheists are also engaged in the act of congratulating themselves for being an atheist? Could you please inform us what location and or situation did you find yourself in where you encountered a lot of atheists congratulating themselves on being an atheist?
Congratulations! You're a special one, alright.
I recognize this as sarcasm, and I would say without any sarcasm or irony that you are a special person. In fact, everyone is special because we're all unique, and there will never again be a configuration of atoms to construct such a person as myself or you ever again. So we are all special.
You don't believe in God? Good for you. I don't care.
I would have to assume that the not caring part is, again, sarcasm, because if you really didn't care, then you wouldn't make any video or talk about the subject at all.
And you guys hate it when religious people shove their beliefs down your throat, but go around saying, there's no God? Guess what? You're doing the exact same thing.
There are 3 logical fallacies that you've committed. One is a straw man, the other is a 2Q, and the third is a ad hominem. The straw man is suggesting that all atheists do not like when people promote their religion or say that they believe in God. That is not true. There might be a significant number of atheists that do not like this, or there might be a very few amount of atheists that do not like this. But you cannot say that all atheists are that way without creating a straw man. The second fallacy of the 2Q is existent when you recognize that a particular person is in fact saying, I don't like it when you do this thing, and they are themselves doing that thing. Okay, so what? They're a hypocrite. That does not negate their argumentation at all. The third fallacy, the ad hominem, is to attack the person rather than their argumentation. You're not addressing their arguments at all, you're simply saying, I don't like that you're a hypocrite. Okay, I don't like when people are hypocritical, but sometimes people are. Being a hypocrite in no way negates your argumentation. Either your logic is valid or it's invalid.
And you know what? You're making yourself look like a fucking idiot. That's right. I'm an atheist, and I don't go around shoving that down people's throat.
Well, that's certainly your prerogative and your choice. You don't have to go around telling people that you're an atheist or, quote, shoving it down their throat, end quote. But that doesn't mean that I don't get to do that. I want to do that, I enjoy doing it, and you don't want me to do that. Very well. Give me a logically coherent argument of why I should not do it, and I'll agree with your argument, and I'll stop doing it. So if you're really sincere, and you really mean what you're saying here, then all you need to do is produce a logically coherent argument in video format, and send that to me, or even if you just want to write up a logically coherent argument, I'll read that. I'll analyze it, and if it is free of logical fallacies, I will stop making videos on the subjects that I've been doing. I'll make other videos, but I will no longer be out there and about doing the atheist skepticism thing that I've been doing this whole time. You will have succeeded, at least for this one individual, in your endeavor to stop people from doing what you say that you don't want them to do. And if you cannot or will not produce a argumentation, then I submit that we should be skeptical of your sincerity.
And whether you like it or not, religion is important.
Please list some examples of how and why religion is important.
The Bible is one of the most important pieces of literature.
That's a very strong statement to make, and I would ask you to provide us some evidence that this is true.
For some reason, atheists seem to think that Christianity is the only belief.
What an interesting straw man you've created. You said that all atheists believe that Christianity is the only religion, but you just said that you were an atheist. Wouldn't that mean that you also believe that Christianity is the only religion? But if that's the case, then what's your complaint? But if it's not the case, then you are your own counterexample to what you just created as a straw man.
And you like to believe that atheism means anti-Christianity.
You like to believe that the color pink will make you more intelligent and successful in life.
It doesn't. It just means lack of belief. It just means you don't believe in anything.
No, it means we don't believe in God. It does not mean that we do not believe in anything.
But for some reason you feel the need to go around insulting Christianity.
Oh man, you're right. You know, it all started one day when this guy was like, "Psst, hey, you want to try something, make you feel good?" And I was naive. I didn't know. And I insulted a Christian, and at first it made me feel great. But now it just barely makes me feel normal anymore, but I can't stop. I've sold everything that I own to be able to insult Christians. I just can't break this cycle. How do I get out of this addiction?
What did they ever do to you?
This priest, he invited me downstairs, and he said that if I didn't remove my pants, I can't talk about it. In all seriousness, there have been horrible incidents that Christians have committed against people. But again, that might not be the reason people are insulting them, if indeed people are insulting them. In fact, somebody might not be insulting them, they might be attacking their position. That is not insulting people. There is a difference.
And Christian beliefs aren't all about God and Jesus.
Really? I would like an example of something that is nothing about God or Jesus.
Like, treat thy neighbor as you would want them to treat you?
That's not an example of something that's not from God or Jesus. This is something that Jesus supposedly said. Now, granted, other religions said it far before he said it, and you kind of misquoted what he said, but okay, you got the idea. It's the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And it's been around long before Jesus ever supposedly said it, but nonetheless, still it's something that Jesus said, which would mean it's everything to do with Jesus. And it's not an example of something that Christianity has that has nothing to do with God or Jesus. Please provide one example of something that has nothing to do with God or Jesus.
It's a whole way of treating each other well. It's a whole system of being kind to one another.
That might be the intentionality of the religion, but often and many times the individuals who are promoting the religion do not live the way that their religion tells them to live. And that's kind of a problem. If the goal of the religion is to get people to behave a certain way, we do not see that as a result. What we do see as a result is judgmental people. If you go to a Southern Baptist church looking the way that you do, I guarantee somebody will say something negative about your hair color and your makeup.
And, of course, the Bible is open for misinterpretation.
I agree. The Bible can be misinterpreted.
God never said to hate people. He didn't say hate someone because they're gay.
What was that thing you just said a moment ago?
The Bible is open for misinterpretation.
Okay, so here's my question. I agree with you that the Bible is open to misinterpretation. Then how can we conclude that the Bible says or does not say anything? Both of us could be misinterpreting what the Bible says or doesn't say. So how would we know that you're correct in saying that the Bible does not say certain things, if it is open to misinterpretation? We could be wrong. We could be misinterpreting it. Maybe the Bible does say what you just said that it doesn't say, and you are, in fact, misinterpreting it. How do we know what the Bible is saying? I would submit that we could not know what the Bible is saying if it is open to misinterpretation, which renders the entire Bible useless.
But for some reason, some people like to translate it that way.
Tell me which version of the Bible does not translate it in this way, that instead translates it into the way that you're suggesting.
For some reason, people like to think that atheism means you hate Christians.
No, atheism clearly means I hate Pastafarians.
What's so wrong about it?
So what is wrong with Christianity? Well, a group of Christians are allowing their children to die because they believe sincerely that the power of prayer can save these children from whatever illness they might have. They do not go to the doctor themselves and do not take their children to the doctor because they believe that the power of prayer is sufficient to cure anything and everything. We also have vast majority of Christians promoting anti-science. They promote the idea that biological evolution isn't true. They promote the idea that the Earth is far younger than it actually is, which is 4.54 billion years old. We also have a vast majority of Catholics that are serving in Africa and promoting that using birth control and using protection, condoms, is a bad idea. This makes it that when those people go and have sex, which they will do even though the Catholics are trying to tell them to not have sex, that birth rates and AIDS continues to spread. If they were promoting the use of contraceptives and the use of condoms, this could potentially help people rather than continue to hinder them. Those are just a few of the things that are wrong with Christianity. I could go on.
What's so funny about people having a belief?
Well, I suppose it depends upon the belief, but even if we do find it hilarious, that doesn't mean that our reasons for arguing against it are that we find it hilarious, and it also doesn't mean that we do find beliefs hilarious and that that's our reason for arguing against them.
It's amazing, these people. I don't know why you'd be so proud of being an atheist, because these people have the ability to have faith in something without proof.
But according to a lot of theists that I've heard, I should be proud that I'm an atheist because it takes more faith to be an atheist. I apparently believe that the universe came from nothing, and that's impossible and ludicrous. So I'm proud to be an atheist because they are strawmanning me into a position that I don't have and saying that it takes more faith to be an atheist. So I should be equally amazed at that strawman as I am amazed at your strawman of what I think or feel or believe.
They can feel it and believe it there. They know that person's there and they love them with all their heart.
As a former believer, I am fully aware of what that feels like. I'm also fully aware of what the naturalistic explanation for that feeling is. And I can create that feeling in myself to an even greater degree now that I understand it than I ever could as a believer. So if we're going to say that feelings matter, and that we should respect people because they have very strong and passionate feelings, then you should respect me because I'm able to create an even stronger feeling in myself than I ever could before. Meaning that I'm in a far better position now than I ever was as a believer. Even more of a reason to be an atheist versus being a believer. If, of course, we're basing things on feelings rather than logic.
They know that person will keep them safe always, and they have a place to go after they die.
Well, that is certainly what some of them believe, but let's just say that one of them believes that they will always be kept safe, and they find themselves in an unsafe place, in an unsafe situation. And in their desperate pleas and cries for God to save them, they suddenly realize that God isn't there to save them. And that horrible, horrible feeling is the last thing that they feel before they die. if we're going to use feelings as a justification for beliefs or unbeliefs, then wouldn't we be right to say that it is our duty to prevent that horrible feeling? Sure, yes, we're going to make them feel bad right now, but doing so in a safe environment is much preferable than doing so in an unsafe environment. In fact, promoting the idea that God will not keep them safe because there is no God to keep them safe might in fact keep them away from the danger in the first place.
That's one of the most powerful things ever. It's extremely deep, yet you think it's funny?
Again with the straw man, but no, I think it's sad.
So explain to me, all you other atheists out there, what's so important? What's so great about being atheist?
Well, there's a lot of things that are great about being a skeptic and by that also an atheist, at least from my perspective. And the answer to that question, I suspect, will be different for every single person that you ask it of. But I would ask you to question your own non-belief as well. Why are you an atheist? Why do you not believe? And why is it that you cannot just believe in God? What are those reasons? Because those reasons will inform you of what it is that is important to you about not believing.
So what, you don't believe in something? Who gives a shit?
I'm going to give two answers to this meaningless question. The first is you. You care about this topic. Otherwise, you would not have made a video about it. The second answer to your question is the following. The state of Kentucky, the state of Arkansas, the state of Maryland, the state of Mississippi, the state of North Carolina, the state of South Carolina, the state of Tennessee, the state of Texas. These states apparently give a very big piece of shit that people might deny God and create unconstitutional laws against doing that, at least for running for office, or in one case, if you don't display a plaque.
Seriously, if you don't give a shit about other people's religions, why should they give a shit about your lack of religion?
Okay, now I'm really confused. What's the straw man now? Okay, first you said we only believe in one religion, and that's Christianity. Then you said that we make fun of it, which may or may not be true. Then you said that we don't care about it, but we do care about it in the fact that we're making fun of it. I mean, we care enough to make fun of it, but then you're saying we don't care about religion, so which is it? We can't do both.
Why do you have to tell them that they're wrong?
You already know why I have to do it. I'm addicted to doing it. You already told me why I have to do it earlier.
Guess what? There's no way of knowing.
You are wrong. There is a way of knowing. There's several ways of knowing. The amount of evidence for or against a deity. Logic can help us draw a logically coherent argumentation that leads to us being skeptical or not skeptical of such a thing. Then, if someone had a repeatable test or empirical evidence of that God, there would be no room to deny such a God because we would have empirical evidence and a repeatable test of it. But if we don't have that, then we get to be skeptical of it when we don't have a logically coherent argument for it, which means we do get to say that we know that there's no good reason to say yes to it at the very least.
Why do you have to tell them that they're wrong?
You already know why I have to do it. I'm addicted to doing it. You already told me why I have to do it earlier.
They can't tell you that you're wrong for not believing in God, and you can't tell them they're wrong for believing in God.
Well, actually, we can and do tell each other that we're wrong on this particular subject all the time. If you really want to make an agnostic argumentation, that's fine, but make that argumentation. You haven't made that yet, so you have a failure to give an argument again, and we have a does not follow because what you're saying doesn't follow what you were saying before. We have 26 fallacies, 1 potential fallacy, and 7 failures to give an argument. All 7 of the formal fallacies are failures to give an argumentation. We have more than enough reasons to be skeptical of her conclusion, which is what exactly? Her conclusion should be at the end of her video, but her conclusion really is not something that follows from the rest of her video. So if I could, I think I would try to reconstruct her argument thus. Premise 1, nobody can know or tell somebody else that there is a God. Premise 2, nobody can know or tell somebody else that there is no God. Conclusion, therefore, nobody should tell each other that there is or is not a God, because we have no way of telling who is right or wrong on this matter. Now, that reconstruction of her argument still is not valid. There's missing premises. You would need more than just those two to support such an argumentation and a conclusion. We certainly don't get that in this video. And unless until we have a logically coherent argument, we have to continue to be skeptical of your conclusions. And now, here's a bonus for those of you who stuck around the 20 minutes and 33, 34, 35 seconds, I better stop counting the seconds, of video. Here's a blooper. Converted man here. Hi. This is the stupidest thing I've ever done. Woo!